Hey there ladies and gentlemen, I'm Draco and welcome back to my playthrough of Dark Souls 2 on the PC. I'm picking things up right where I finished last time at the Crestfallen Retreat bonfire. Now I think in the last episode I was saying I didn't like the Forest of the Fallen Giants because I find some of the enemies in here too easy or whatever, and you know, while that is true, I think the layout and level design here are some of the best in the game. And that's something FromSoft does really well. I mean, they really know how to make an abandoned castle sort of style level, don't they? If you look back through the Souls series, I guess the most important areas from a lore and story perspective are those rundown, overgrown and overrun castle areas. In Demon Souls they had the entire Boletaria Palace area, which was the most important and interesting story events occur there. Not only that, but the actual level design there was some of the very best in the series, especially in Boletaria 1-1. That's the sort of level design where it's vertical, it doubles back on itself, it's non-linear, and it's totally immersive. It's only really seen in this area in Dark Souls 2. The forest is really brilliant in terms of design, and I think what I like about this place the most is the payoff towards the end. You know, where the game and the player is given the chance to play these areas back in the war with the giants. So coming back here now is really rewarding because, as you can see, what you actually caused the corridors to collapse and also appreciate sort of how things here came to be. Of course, if you never played Dark Souls 2, this will all become clear later in the game, but in Dark Souls 1 we got similar sort of verticality and multiple paths to explore in the Undead Burg, and also places like Anor Londo and Sen's Fortress. Unfortunately for Dark Souls 2, that's just limited to the Forest of the Fallen Giants, I think, which is your starting area for most people, and you can just breeze through here and never really appreciate the design of the place. Alright, so there's a couple of life gem or one life gem here, but back on my point, I really hope that they make their next game more like Demon Souls so that, you know, we have places to get lost in and stumble upon new paths through the exploration, rather than a linear progression that Dark Souls 2 unfortunately falls back on too often. But hey, that's just a couple of things I wanted to clear up from my previous video and also moving forward. Up here, where our Haid Knight is sitting, it's a good idea to clear the enemies out at the top as well, and also these guys here as quick as you can, because I'm sick of that friggin' archer hitting me while I'm trying to kill the Haid Knight. So yeah, just clear out these guys here. They drop a couple of cool items like a life gem. I think there's also a human effigy here, that's right. Also a little guy acting dead across to the side here. I'm just going to clean this up now. A broken straight swords, a warrior starting item. So if you rolled a class like a sorcerer or a deprived or, you know, even a warrior, going up to that top section is going to net you a nice little short sword, which it's really nice because you may not have anything better, and the short sword doesn't really require much strength or dexterity. With that said though, you might only get, you know, one chance to use the short sword before killing the Haid Knight and then picking up his sword, but meh. Just a quick jump across that gap. There's also a soul of a lost undead there as well. You can also just drop down here and take on the Haid Knight, and he can be a difficult adversary only because his attacks are fairly simple to avoid, but only once you know what's coming. So you can get a good, you know, 1 or 2 hits in before he stands up, but he'll always do this fast slash attack as he's standing, so just make sure you roll away before he gets up completely. So there it is. He'll do an outward swing that looks like he's trying to sort of take your head off, and he'll follow that up with another slash, but your best chance to attack is by rolling behind him and trying for the backstab as I just did there. Sometimes he'll do an overhead swing to finish the combo, and this can be another opportunity to get a backstab. Or you can get a couple of strong attacks in like I did. If you're feeling particularly adventurous, you can try to parry him, but he's really quick and he does very big damage, so if you fuck it up at anything like 100% health, he'll kill you in 2 hits. But I've got the Haid Knight sword on, which he drops every time. And I'm going to use that sword for the next little while just because I love the moveset. This thing's quick and has a nice upward swing that can hit things like crystal lizards and also those pesky soldiers that are playing dead. I just love this thing. So you can see there's a couple of guys in here in this room here. A couple of hollows in the corridor as well, but you can get the drop on them by going through that little hole in the wall and busting up their little party. You got to act quick here too, because at the top of this little staircase there's a firebomb thrower and a couple of annoying hollow soldiers, as well as an archer. But I'm pretty quick on my feet. I should be fine here. Just make sure you're rolling as much as you can. Shouldn't really be an issue. So you can see there, he's got that tracking when he throws the firebomb, so try and roll at the very last minute after he's started to throw it, and you should be okay. Right, kill this guy here and pick up the treasure. It's a buckler, I believe. Yes. Buckler's not too bad. It's good for parrying as well, but it requires a little bit of dexterity, which I don't think I have. Let me just check. No. See, it needs 13 dex. That's okay. Now, the area just down here under the Cardinal Tower is where I'll grab another weapon, and it's also another place I can return to sort of later on in the game, inside the Memory of a Giant. I don't know if you can see too well, but there's a platform across the gap there that can't be accessed just yet. You might be able to see an item and also a suspicious looking tree. Now that tree is actually a long dead giant, and those giants are the ones whose memories we can go back into much later on. For now though, I'm going to make my way down here and take out these hollow soldiers. And there's also a little tunnel down the bottom with all the fire on the ground, and a big ass salamander spitting fireballs, and that's really where I'm headed to next. So just a human effigy. The thing I gotta be careful of is falling. As good as I think I am at combat and bosses in the game, I fall a lot and die a lot from falling and rolling and trying to clear jumps. Something I'm gonna be more careful of here. From memory, I think there's about 4 or 5 of these hollows that we gotta take out. Not too difficult, especially with the Haid Knight sword. So the other really useful weapon that you can find down here is the longsword, and it's already infused with fire. So anybody who's played Dark Souls 2, I'm guarantee you've picked this sword up before. I kind of dislike it though, but not because it's a bad weapon per se. Actually, it's fantastic early on, but I kind of feel that far too many people use it and for too long. Which is a little bit boring, and that's not really my style. I try and be different. Don't get me wrong, the fire sword is great early on. You'd be a fool not to pick it up and use it. But I find it becomes a little bit redundant fairly quickly, and I see far too many people using it much later in the game. I just die a little inside when I get summoned as a white phantom for a boss kind of 80-90% through the game, and the host is still rolling an unupgraded fire sword and a leather shield. Just remember to make your way back out of this tunnel when you hear the third fireball hit. That's your chance to run. Now to get back up, just climb the ladder, and also once we get to the top of the ladder, we'll have to double back through a hole in the wall and open the big door leading to the Cardinal Tower. The enemies here are all dead, so there's not really much to worry about coming back. Alright, so just up this ladder here and in that door. Around the side here, I think there's a few witching urns on that corpse, and also one of these hollow halberd guys playing dead. Witching urn acts like a firebomb but uses magic damage, so it's fairly useful. I don't use it all that much. So in here there's a merchant called Melentia who, I'm just going to quickly skip through her dialogue, but you need to exhaust all of her dialogue, and she'll move back to Majula, but she also, more importantly, sells the key to the blacksmith shop, which I think I'll grab, and also this lockstone, because I've got tons of souls. But also remember to buy at least one firebomb and save it so that you can blow a hole in the wall here when we come around the other side, because it's a fairly useful shortcut. I'm just going to light this bonfire. I might also just go back to Majula real quick. I don't want to waste too much time here, so I'll be as quick as I can. I'm sorry guys, but as you can see, the loading times on the PC are like 5 friggin' seconds. So traveling at bonfires compared to the consoles where the load times are over a minute, it's just, oh, it's fucking wonderful. So now I've opened up the blacksmith's shop. Just need to go back and rest at the bonfire to make him actually move in there. You don't need to travel away from here or anything, just rest at the bonfire. Go back into his shop and he'll be ready to upgrade or whatever. I think I'm just going to upgrade my Hade Knight sword once or twice. I just want a little bit of extra damage. I'm not too concerned with upgrading my armor or anything like that, or the shield. Alright, so I think I need another Titanite shard or 2. There we go. Alright, so that'll do for Leningrast. I'll use these souls here real quick. I just want to level up once or twice. I want a little bit more endurance just so that I can get another swing of the sword in my combo. Maybe one more strength or dexterity, I'm not too sure. Alright, so I'll just level up the Hade Knight sword once more to take it to level 3. And that should be a big damage increase as well. And there's also a short bow in here that you should always remember to pick up. Buy a couple of iron arrows from Leningrast as well, just in case you run into something that you can't take out. I'm just going to buy 50 because I really couldn't care less about the souls at this point. I've got tons.
Bearer of the list.
Alright, we'll quickly level up. Yeah, I'll take 1 in strength. Not too sure now. I'll definitely take 1 endurance and yeah, strength. Fuck it. Alright, so back to the Cardinal Tower bonfire that we just lit. So you want to come down this ladder here. There's going to be a couple of hollow royal soldiers just to the left. And that's where the Hade Knight sword comes really handy, because it can hit things on the ground. And now that I've upgraded it, I can take these guys out in just 2 swings. A couple of useful items in here. Through this fog door is where I want to go next. There's a guy on the ground here as well. I'm going to skip a little bit of story stuff here. There is a cool NPC just past this fog door to the right that I'm going to come back to later. Just because I want to go up this tree route and take on the Pursuer boss a little earlier than normal. Now, the Pursuer can be a little bit tricky at this point because most people will be very low level and most likely have a shitty starting weapon. Just for now, I want to blow a hole in this wall that's just up here so I can rest at the bonfire and open a shortcut. Now those witching urns will be alright for here. I'll just take this guy out with those. But remember I told you to buy those fire bombs? I'll show you why. Not having too much success with these witching urns, but I really don't use these apart from that guy. Alright, so I'll chuck my firebomb against this wall here after I dispatch this guy. I think I'll just take a quick rest at the bonfire, and then I'll go take on Pursuer. Also, resting at the bonfire repairs my shit, which is always handy. Whoa, I forgot I respawned those guys. Sorry. So just rest again, reset them again. I think I might take on that dude that throws the firebombs with my bow. And I have to equip the iron arrows as well. And take out this guy down here with the bow as well. Maybe this spear guy wasn't such a good idea to take out with the bow. Alright, just die already. There we go. So now I've rested, I have to clear out these couple of guys again. But, without much further ado, I just need to climb this ladder, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pursuer. So he has a couple of dangerous attacks, and fairly sure he opens up with his Curse Blade, so it's like this first attack where his sword goes blue, and if he stabs you with it, yeah, there it is, he curses you. As long as you're out of range of being hit by it, you can get an attack in fairly easily, but he's very, very predictable and he telegraphs his attacks really to the point where he becomes pretty readable and you can pick what's coming every time. When he raises his shield, he's going to always charge you, so just roll to the right, you can get a swing in there, just like, well, I rolled to the left, sorry about that. There it is. So just hit him a few times. Just kind of rinse and repeat. Just kind of bait that charge attack every time. So he'll do it fairly regularly. You can also get attacks in at the end of his combo when he does his 3-hit combo. The last attack that he does is always going to be an overhead slice or a jumping swing attack. Just roll under it behind him and you can get 1 or 2 hits in there. I wouldn't expect to do much damage to him at this point. I think the key for this fight this early is just avoiding damage, because he can sort of kill you in 1 or 2 hits. There's not really any special reward for killing him here either, apart from just not having to do it later, but he also gives you the Ring of Blades when he's defeated, so the Ring of Blades increases your physical damage by, I think, about the equivalent to upgrading your sword once or twice, which is fairly nice. I have a Ring of Blades equipped pretty much the entire game, and there are upgraded versions of it that you can pick up. Alright, so I can't get that item just yet, but I'm going to continue down this little path here to grab a few items and also use the Lockstone that I bought before. I'm just trying to get her dialogue out of the way now, so I don't forget. I wasn't foolish enough to rest at the bonfire that time, because I don't really need to. In this room here to the right with the ballistas, that's where at the bottom there's a Chloranthy ring, and also a Titanite slab in a secret room, once I use the Pharos Lockstone. These guys here will rush you. If you run in there and trigger them firing the ballista, they'll kill their friend, most times. But they can gang up on you, which they're doing to me now, so I'm just going to play it safe and climb the ladder. Might use ranged attacks just to take out 1 or 2 of them. I'd like to conserve the healing items that I've got. And I probably shouldn't be trying to parry these guys with such low adaptability and a big shield like this. So Great Soul Arrow, that's pretty decent item to pick up at this point. If you're a sorcerer and you can use that spell, it's really, really good. This chest here is always trapped with something. Alright, I was lucky enough to get poison there, but it can spawn a crossbow shooting out of it, which you'll need to make sure you've got a shield in hand to block. I'm just going to go ahead, use the Pharos Lockstone. Over there you'll see the secret wall that you'll need to hit. And inside we'll get our little bit of swag. So that Chloranthy ring's good, because it'll increase the amount of stamina that I can regenerate, which is always, always handy. There's nothing more important in this game than stamina and endurance. Without stamina you can't do shit. But now I'm 60.2%, which is a bit unfortunate. Might have to get rid of something. I'll just get rid of the bow. You can stay below 70% and still be able to roll pretty quickly, but I prefer being under 60%. So I hit that door there just to make the soldiers on the other side open it. So you'll see very shortly he'll open the door and ask who's there. Alright, the halberd guy, just wait until he does his third attack because he can really fuck you up. Alright, so in this one I think will be another ring. That's right, a life ring. So that's one of the items that you can grab at the start of the game, but as I said, you can pick up all of the items that they give you at the beginning somewhere fairly early on. The life ring's okay, I think it just increases your HP by a little tiny bit. I just want to check my equipment just real quick. I think I can equip the bow without the Chloranthy ring at this point, which is probably better. And just down here is another cool NPC who's called Mild-Mannered Pate. I'm just skipping his dialogue, but essentially, just like all other NPCs, you can talk to him a bunch of times and he'll ask me to go in that little door where there's a trap. What I want to do is come around here and climb the ladder around to the right, so I can do it all backwards and just get the door to lock. All the enemies inside will already be killed and there won't be really any risk to it. These big guys here, as long as you don't get hit by their overhead slam, they're not too difficult. If you roll just at the last minute, just like every other enemy in the game, they can't track you. And as you can see with that upgraded Hade sword, it just does massive damage. I only needed 2 swings to kill him then. So there's another one of those strange trees that we can't do anything with yet. It's going to be really important later in the game. Alas, nothing happened. And so if you come up here and go right, there is a crossbow on this corpse here. I don't continue on any further just because there's a kind of couple of useless items just in here which are not worth running around for, because you're going to have to run all the way back around and climb that ladder again, so not interested in that in the slightest. So as you can see, they're facing the other way because you're supposed to come up these stairs here and run this gauntlet, but if you come around from the back it makes it so much easier, so much easier. And with an upgraded weapon it just becomes kind of a cakewalk. Although these guys are doing a fair bit of damage to me. Alright, I'm just going to retreat, take a life gem. Get that halberd guy when he's on his own, much easier. And we're done. Alright, cool. A couple of aromatic ooze, which is good, but in here there's a secret door. And inside it contains the sorcerer's staff. which is pretty nice if you want to use some spells and you have the intelligence to do so. Doesn't interest me, but I thought I'd just show you guys where a cool treasure is anyway. So come back up around here and talk to Pate again. Just drop down here and it shouldn't take any life. But you know what? I think I forgot to make the gate lock. Damn.
I'll leave this one to you.
So I'll have to quickly run through this the proper way. There are a few dudes in here which are fairly easily dispatched. Sorry guys, I want to get him to give me his white sign soapstone, which not only allows me to summon other players, but it'll make Pate himself available as a summon for the next boss. If I keep him alive for the fight, he'll give me a reward a bit later on too. I think he just drops his, so he gives us his armor a little bit later.
I hope that
But I think the only way to make him do that is to actually run through here and get the gate to lock.
undead to call out for help to one another. With luck.
Alright, so that's enough dilly-dallying. Come through this section here, there's only a couple of hollow soldiers left. Let's take them out as quick as I can, and that fog door is where I'm going to aim to go next. You can climb this little ramp here, it's an old spear from a statue long ago. Up there contains a halberd, but there's a little ambush that occurs, which I'm not really interested in. The halberd's... I don't know, if you want the halberd, there it is, but not for me. So I've cleared out those guys. As I said, I'm not concerned with the halberd or anything at this stage. The fire arrows on the edge there are nice, and also this door here is kind of important because that'll unlock a little shortcut back to the bonfire. So if you die to the boss and you didn't unlock that door, it's quite a long ass run back to the boss here, so always open it, always. Alright, I'm rested up, I'm feeling good. Just gonna come back down the ladder again, and through that door that we just unlocked, there's an elevator that takes you down to the boss of the area. Just beyond that, there'll also be a summon sign, and that'll be Mild-Mannered Pate. So I'm gonna actually summon him. Not that I necessarily need the help, just like with Lucatiel, I just want to advance his story. You got to make sure you summon him here if you're going to. You got to be in human form, of course. Alright everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last giant, boss of the Forest of the Fallen Giants. Best way to go about this one is just to attack his feet. Make sure you don't get stomped on as well, which I just did. You can always roll between his legs to fool him into swinging at you, but once you hit him enough, once you do about 50% of his health, or once you take off about 50% of his health, he rips his arm off. So that's just going to give him greater reach, which is even more reason just to stand between his legs and hit his feet. Now in my experience, Pate tends to just get stomped on all day long, so you got to clear this fight as quickly as you can, because Pate isn't too smart. He doesn't do that much damage, and as you can see, a spear is fairly ineffective here because it's going to miss all the time. Alright, there it is. That was fairly simple, and I think that's going to about do it for this video. So apologies, sorry for the lag, but that should all be cleared up for future videos. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Please leave me a like or a comment below, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of my vids. And as always, this has been Draco. See you next time. Peace.